This you see behind me is the world famous Hagia Sophia, of course, first built by Emperor Justinian in antiquity. And it was, of course, during the time when Istanbul was the center of the world. It served as a Catholic church for many, many years. And of course, in 1453, when Fatih Sultan Mehmet, Fatih the Conqueror, conquered Istanbul and turned it into a Muslim country, part of the Ottoman Empire, it turned into a mosque. Now, fast forward to 1934, 1923 was when the Turkish Republic was set. Fast forward to 1934, and it became a museum. About 86 years, it served as a museum, and in 2020, the current government of Turkey turned it into a mosque. Now it serves as a mosque slash a museum. Tourists from all around the world can come and see it. It's a beautiful sight. You should definitely see it when you're in town. But that's enough history for now. Let's go taste some of the beautiful street food we have in beautiful Istanbul. Well, we got our simit. Simit is a very interesting thing indeed. In Turkey, you can consider it a staple. In America, people tend to think it looks like a pretzel, but as a matter of fact, it's full of dough, cooked in ovens, usually stone ovens, but now, of course, you have more modern ovens to cook it in. And it's surrounded by, thank you for crossing our camera, it's surrounded by sesame seeds. Now, in Turkey, we eat this a lot. Everybody eats it, and anybody who comes from abroad loves it. It's a kind of crunchy on the inside, and the Turkish way of doing it is you have it for breakfast, you have it for lunch, you have it for 5 o'clock tea, whatever it is. And tea is very important in Turkey. We, of course, don't have tea bags. We brew our own tea. I'll show you what the teapots look like. So you usually would have your simit, your tea, and that would be your kind of most basic staple street food. That's to my left. To my right, you actually have corn on the cob. They do these in two ways. So you have one that's fried, one that's boiled. And again, it's very much a staple food. So if you're in Istanbul or any part of Turkey for that matter, you have to eat either this one or this one. Well, there's another thing I just forgot to tell you is in Turkey, we're very hospitable, very compassionate people. And of course, for the less fortunate of us, you have something called askıda simit. What that means is the wealthier people might drop by. So for example, I buy one and then I'll leave some money for another one to several simits over here. And then if a less fortunate person should be passing by and they say, hey, I don't have any money, can I get one? And if the guy has some in stock, so for example, if I'd left some money for him, then a less fortunate person will be able to have that simit. You have something similar in Italy, actually. They do it with coffee. In Turkey, we do it with simit. But that's enough about simit. Let's taste this delicious food right now. You know, apart from börek, you have these pide, which is very traditional of the northern coast, the Black Sea. And then, yeah, some more böreks down there. So I think, without further ado, let's dig in and eat some. Well, yes, here we are now. What I want to show you now is something called börek. Börek is made out of phyllo pastry. There are several different versions of it. You can cook it in different ways, but essentially it's all the same. And you get it not just in Turkey, but also the Balkans. You have things like, the one I have is with minced beef. Then you can have it with potatoes, with spinach, with cheese. And it is a very kind of important and popular Turkish dish. We would usually have it with some rice, I'm getting confused, with some tea. I said rice because we eat a lot of rice in Turkey as well. Now, börek, you can have it for breakfast, you can have it for lunch, dinner, whatever you want. It is a lovely, lovely dish. As usual, I don't want to talk too much, and I'm going to go in and dig in right now. Güzel.
Yeter mi abi bu kadar zaman? Vallahi abi kalıba göre anca bu dondurma. Tamam.
Tamam alayım mı?
Bırakabilir gidebilirsen.
Hadi.
Bileğin yetişiyor.
Vallahi düşecek. Ödüm kopuyor düşecek diye.
Yapma abi. Sağ ol bir şey olmaz ya. Gel ver abi gel ver abi. Evet o senin mi abi? Buyurun. Evet.
Tamam.
Abi elin altında şeyim var. Bıçak mı var orada ya? Gelen kiraya arkası gidiyor. Maşallah.
Haydi bakalım.
Evet. Evet. Sabır var mı?
Var. Tamam.
İnşallah. İnşallah. Maşallah. Harbiden sabırlıymış.
Eyvallah,
abi.
teşekkür ederim.
Abi biz buraya bakalım. Bir şey alalım. Test alalım.
Alalım.
Evet abi. Abi istemiyor musun? Abi test yapıyoruz. Evet. Evet abi. Okey veriyorum abi veriyorum tamam. Evet. Aman Güzel mi abi? Güzel
Çok
test
güzel.
alma.
Harika.
Eyvallah. Afiyet olsun. Başka bir isteğin var mı abicim?
Teşekkür ederim.
Ben teşekkür ederim. Güle güle abi.
As you can see, doesn't matter if you're Turkish, doesn't matter if you're 40 years old. You can't get an ice cream without these guys messing around with you. It's a very special ice cream, by the way.
Hey, bu elle.
Well,
Allah!
see, it continues. Doesn't stop here. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Çok teşekkür ederim.
Ben teşekkür ederim.
Kolay gelsin.
Hocam size ikram edeyim.
As you can see, so, and by the way, let me tell you that this is a very special kind of ice cream. It's from Marash. Now, Marash is in the east of Turkey. And the specialty of it is the reason that they can mess around so much with it. It's because it's a kind of squidgy, stretchy ice cream. So the guy is able to kind of mess around with it all around. By the way, it is delicious ice cream. And doesn't matter how old you are, you come here, you enjoy it, you will love it. Another afiyet olsun. Completed in the 1600s, this is the famous Egyptian Bazaar or Spice Bazaar. Now it sits right in the middle of the historic part of old Istanbul, and in here you can find everything from spices, Turkish delights, sweets, and also, if you pan the camera around, some handbags. Well, this is the famous Golden Horn that you see over here. It's actually a very historical place. This is where Fatih Sultan Mehmet, Fatih the Conqueror, came and essentially conquered Istanbul in 1453. Today, of course, it's a hustling, bustling bridge. Under the bridge, there's plenty of restaurants. It's a very famous kind of shopping area. And if you look over here, you get the famous Turkish balık ekmek, which literally translates into bread and fish. It's a relatively economic thing to have. I think it's about 30 lira at the moment, and it's a very popular thing to have both by Turks and the travelers here. It is one of the most beautiful sights you can see in this beautiful, magnificent imperial city of Istanbul. Well, here we are. That's how the bread and fish looks. As I said before, it's a very popular dish. You got a thin kind of white meat, white fish in here, some lettuce, some onions, and a big piece of bread. And this is how it is. It's beautiful. And now, let me not forget about this. This is pickled cucumbers and onions and many other things. Apart from eating the cucumbers, you can actually drink the juice, which is very delicious, but you got to be careful. Don't drink too much because your stomach will burn. But that's what it is. That's balık ekmek for you right here in Turkey. Well, I'm sure you've seen Turkish coffee before. It's done all over the world, but I doubt you've seen it done like this. Usually it's done over a stove. But here you have some coal, hot coal, and then you can see it in detail that it actually cooks nice and slowly. And as we all know, or if you don't know, Turkish coffee is done in 3 ways. You have sweet, medium, little sugar, actually 4 ways, and you have it with no sugar at all. And here it is. It's a very, very traditional way of doing the famous Turkish coffee. I'm going to sit down and enjoy it now. Teşekkürler. Now let me tell you something very interesting about Turkish coffee. Of course, dating back to Ottoman times, you'd get your coffee served, and traditionally you'd have a water next to it, or a glass of water, and some sweets. Now, if you start your coffee by sipping some of this water, then that means in the old Ottoman times that you're a little hungry, and then your host would immediately know and start preparing food for you. On the other hand, if you were to merely go for your coffee first, which I'm going to do now, because it's delicious, then that actually means you're not hungry, and then they would go ahead and prepare some desserts and a more casual kind of hosting. But it's a very interesting part of Turkish culture that has come to us from those wonderful Ottoman days. But for now, I'm going to go back and enjoy this beautifully made coffee on the coal stove. Well, this might not mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but this is the famous Sirkeci train station. Now, Sirkeci train station is a famous one for me because it is where the Orient Express used to come as its last stop. Of course, the famous Orient Express would start in London. It would have a station in Paris, in Athens, and then in Istanbul. Of course, going through Belgrade and Eastern Europe. And being a true Agatha Christie fan, this is a place I really wanted to come. And of course, you can come here as well. Come and have a look at the beautiful setting. Well, here we are at Güllüoğlu, one of the most famous sweet shops, pastry shops in Istanbul, in Karaköy district of Istanbul, right by the Bosphorus, actually, just down there. Now, they specialize in desserts, and I'm going to walk you through the desserts, and I'm going to, of course, go ahead and taste it. I've got my tea right next to me. This is kadayıf, of course, with the famous Turkish pistachios. Next to it is şubiyet, which is kind of made like a baklava, but then you have some cream in between, and of course some pistachio. Then you get over to şekerpare, which is kind of a Western Turkish dessert. They also have it in the Balkans, one of my favorites. Then you get to the baklava variations. This is a chocolate one, quite a new kind of taste. This is a traditional baklava with a pistachio, and this is, I believe, called sarma. Again, made from phyllo pastry with some pistachio in the middle. Now, I didn't know this until until this age, but apparently the way you eat the baklava is not like this, but what you do is you flip it around, and then what you're supposed to do is this bit is supposed to go into your mouth like this. So what you do is that way, this moist bit goes right there, and your taste buds can really enjoy it. So next time you eat the baklava, don't eat it like this, flip it around, eat it like this, and make sure you come and eat it at Güllüoğlu in Karaköy.
Şimdi bizim ünlü olan somonlu sandviçimizden yapacağız. Biz burada 1941 senesinden beri balıkçılık yapıyoruz. Bu iş benim dedemin, babamın, şimdi de benim işim. Efendim şöyle çok güzel bir Alaska'dan gelen somonumuz var. Onu biz kendimiz füme yapıyoruz. İçine şu gördüğünüz gibi şu havyarı bol sürüyoruz, bol bol. Havyardan bol bol sürüyoruz. Somon fümeyi keselim. Somon füme. Biz bu işi severek yaptığımız için başarılıyız. Neden diyecek olursanız, ilk önce bunu imal ediyoruz. İmal ederken de sevgimizi katıyoruz. Bu sevgi parayla alınacak, satın alınacak bir şey değil. Rahmetli dedem derdi ki, ya sevdiğin işi yap, ya yaptığın işi sev. Sizlere çok teşekkür ediyorum. Efendim şu soğanın güzelliğine bakın. İmralı soğanı. Herkes buna mor soğan diyor ama hayır değil valla, kırmızı soğan. Nereden çıktı mor soğan? Rokalara bak. Rokaya bakın. Yaprakları çivi gibi olacak böyle, çivi. Duvara çakın.
Güzel koktu yani. Evet. Gerçekten koktu yani. Adamın kralı ya.
Sağ olun abicim. Sizlerin sayesinde. İyi, çok şükür. Sizler nerede?
Kolay gelsin. Var mı bir isteğin bir arzu? Ondan sonra şöyle sunuyoruz. Krala selam.
Tabii.
Ama çok teşekkür ederim. Ne kadar güzel sizi bu kadar yıl sonra görmek.
Afiyetler olsun.
Çok mersi.
Onu da hanginiz acı?
I'm going to tell you that this place has been in business since 1941. My family's been coming here for 4 generations, and I was so honored to meet the gentleman one more time. I used to come here when I was a little little boy, and I've come here with my grandfather, with my father, and I'm here now, and I'm very honored. And tekrar teşekkür ederim. Ne kadar güzel oldu böyle sizinle görüşmek. Elinize sağlık sizin de. Çok mersi. In the fish market in Beyoğlu. This is where you find it, and then we'll show you the name of the place as well afterwards. Tamam. Wonderful. Out of this world. Amazing. Tekrar teşekkürler.
Ben teşekkür
Çok
ederim.
Now this is something very, very interesting that you find in little streets and little kind of pop-up type things. It's a little loud here. This is actually called söğüş. So it's a combination of cheek, tongue, brain, whatever it is, and they chop it up and then they put it into a sandwich with certain greens and onion and that kind of thing. It's very popular in Turkey. You don't only make sandwiches out of it, you can actually make soups out of it as well. You have işkembe, kelle, paça also. These things are turned into soups. Here today we're having the sandwich version of it all. Here it is. Let's go have a look how the sandwich is.
Buyur abi. Teşekkür ederim. Ama işte güzel.
Fantastic. Well, on to the next dish. This is called pide. It's a dough-based kind of pizza-like food. Now this kind of looks like a calzone, which is a covered pizza. Of course I say pizza, but because this is Turkish, it's absolutely much, much better than a pizza. You can have very different ones. The one I have here, it's actually a mixed one. There is some cheese inside, usually kashar, which is a kashkaval, or ashawan as they call it in Arabic countries. There's some sucuk in here, and it's kind of made you know, put into the oven and it bakes. You can have it in many different versions, you know, spinach, cheese, meat, chicken, vegetables, whatever you want. It's a great, great dish. I'd like to think the origin is Turkish, but actually you get this all across the Black Sea. You have it in Georgia, for example. They call it hachapuri, slightly different, but the idea is the same. So that's pide, that's ayran. I'm gonna go ahead and eat it now and enjoy it. And I really think if you come to Turkey, you have to try pide. For those of you who don't know, ayran is made out of yogurt. They put water into it, some salt, mix it up. It's probably one of our most popular drinks in Turkey as well. Beautiful. Now on to the dessert. This is a very famous dessert of the particular restaurant we're in. This is called sütlaç. In essence, it's actually a rice pudding of sorts. There's rice, sugar, and milk. First you cook it in a big pot, then it's placed in these kind of clay little pots. Then it's put into an oven. So it's first boiled, then it's put into an oven. Then you get this kind of a creme brulee type. So here on top you have hazelnuts. And by the way, hazelnuts, just to let you know, Turkey is the biggest producer of hazelnuts. So for example, you know those lovely hazelnuts you have in a Nutella? They come from Turkey. And here are the fresh hazelnuts on top. Let's dig in now. See the very nice. Fantastic. It is a little sweet, but then again, it's beautiful. What a great dessert. Sütlaç. This is something particularly interesting. It's called ıslak hamburger. It translates as moist or wet burger. Let me show it to you. It's actually a burger, a little bit of meat in between with some tomato sauce. It's probably one of the most famous kind of fast foods in Turkey. They do it out of this store here. I mean, there's many here, and you can eat it any time of day. This is your kind of classic Turkish fast food. You have this, you have doner, you have dürüm, all sorts of, you know, chicken or meat doner, whatever it is. Now, I'm gonna dig into it. Usually, I only got one, but usually I can finish about 4 of these very easily. It's the same exact taste since I've been coming here, since I was probably 15 years old. Nothing has changed. Still excellent. Definitely recommend it. Islak hamburger in Istanbul.